To make paper mache, mix a paste of flour that... Welcome to Brow Cell High. Make it, don't fake it. Make it, don't fake it.
Make it, don't take it. Make it, don't fake it.
I've talked about Harmony Korine before, and now it seems fitting to talk about him again, given his recent commercial success with Spring Breakers. Which I'll get to another day, but not now. Trust me, it's coming. It's definitely coming. I've struggled to get a bead on him. He clearly has a well-trained cinematic eye and a unique cinematic voice, but his demeanor in and out of interviews makes me think that he's no more insightful and no less simple-minded than any one of his characters. I've decided that he's some sort of idiot savant. He's Forrest Gump with a camera. Yes, I've made all sorts of fun of him in the past, but the sad truth is I would kill to be this entertainingly inane. So before I do Spring Breakers, I want to talk about Korine's worst film.
Trash Humpers isn't his worst?
Well, hi, Ven Gathenian, my bumper cut artist, line producer, and all-around BFF. No. Oh god, no, it wasn't his worst.
How is that possible?
Well, you see, today's film, Mr. Lonely, out of all of Korine's work, it is the most normal looking.
I'm gonna go back to working your camera.
Okay.
Like I always do. Without due credit.
But even his most normal looking movie still starts with this.
That's why I'm lonely.
And yes, that is indeed supposed to be Michael Jackson on a tiny bike with a stuffed monkey, accompanied by the song for which the film is named. A song which was not written by Michael Jackson, which is clearly the weirdest thing going on here. The Michael of this film is not the moonwalking legend we know and love to mock, but rather a professional Michael Jackson impersonator who makes his living as a street performer in Paris. And as a Michael Jackson impersonator, he gets sent around doing various Jacksonian errands, crotch-grabbing, falsetto singing, becoming the punchline for any number of hack pop culture writers.
Oh, so like you.
Now here's what I mean about his most normal movie. Korine is an animal with a very specific habitat. He tells a lot of stories about lower-class Caucasians. Do I get brownie points for not calling them white trash?
You literally just did.
Damn it. Anyway, kids, Gummo, Ken Park, Spring Breakers to an extent, and yes, trash humpers, all revel in the fringe elements of society, taking pride in their vulgarity and shown with a rawness and honesty that leaps beyond the awkward. Mr. Lonely is an odd one out. It's about a lonely artist who is anything but honest. We don't even know his real name. He's just Michael. That said, the movie keeps a very Corinine taste for the awkward and lame.
You can live forever, and you can live forever, and you. I want you to live forever.
The really awkward and lame.
Don't die, don't die, don't die, don't die.
Of course, that isn't to say that the Michael character isn't defined by his awkwardness. He rather,
You cannot fly this plane.
What? You think I can manage that?
I know that you can manage that.
Okay.
I know you can manage it.
Hi, Werner Herzog. Yeah, soon after he wrapped up Grizzly Man, Werner Herzog appeared in this film, playing a priest leading a convent of nuns in an unspecified tropical country. The nuns do work helping the poor, and Herzog gets into awkward, presumably improvised conversations with various people, and... You're probably wondering how this all ties into the Michael Jackson storyline, aren't you?
A moose bit my sister once.
Soon, the not Michael Jackson meets a not Marilyn Monroe, introducing him to a hidden commune populated entirely by impersonators. And so Michael Jackson meets with Charlie Chaplin, James Dean, Shirley Temple. Michael Jackson and Shirley Temple, together again, and it feels so good. And for some reason, they get introduced like this.
Hello, I'm Charlie Chaplin. Hello, I'm Sammy Davis Jr.
Hello, I'm Madonna.
Hello, I'm James Dean.
Hello, I'm Little Red Riding Hood.
Hello, I'm the Queen.
Hello, I'm Shirley Temple.
Hello, Michael. I'm the Pope.
I'm a fucking Lincoln.
I'm Buckwheat. Buckwheat.
My name is Mo.
Larry. I'm Curly.
Congratulations! Congratulations!
Congratulations.
Congratulations!
Now, supposedly this story was cooking in Kareem's brain for some time. He expressed interest in impersonators in the past. Which makes sense. Kareem's always had an interest in the things that are, lame. Now, I don't mean that too broadly. I know some in my audience are into cosplay, for example, and I acknowledge that a lot goes into the act of mimicry and that putting together a memorable impression is difficult, and when done right, influential. But impersonating for the sake of impersonating is, well, a teensy bit silly, sincere as form flattery or not. It brings images of Disneyland mascots and living history museums, and those people who loiter around Times Square 2 feet from the naked cowboy, and that silliness is exacerbated by how low a bar these particular people set. Let's critique them, shall we?
Hello, Michael. I'm the Pope.
There hasn't been an English pope since 1159.
Hello, I'm the Queen.
There has never been an Italian Queen of England.
Hello, I'm Charlie Chaplin.
There has never been a French Charlie Chaplin. Alright, Jacques Tati, but whatever.
I'm a fucking Lincoln.
No comment.
I'm Buckwheat.
Fictional character.
Hello, I'm Little Red Riding Hood.
Why has she not been kicked off the island? Okay, there is a good reason why. This is Rachel Corrine. Note the last name. She's married to the director. And let's face it, there are just no famous people for a young, white, attractive brunette woman to possibly play. She was also a spring breaker. Also, a trash humper. Back to things. Once Michael gets there and meets the other assembled celebrities, they, I don't know, battle rap or something. Really, not much happens for a while. They just start existing together. Not bashing the premise, mind you. I mean, people dressing up like famous characters for a niche market. My colleagues have made that movie twice. But that's the annoying thing. Its premise never really pays off. Once they're at this compound, they never really do much of anything. A lot of these scenes were improvised, and it feels it. Shot of Marilyn doing the skirt thing. Now, Buckwheat, talk about chickens and girls.
Naked woman and naked chickens.
Pilates and beekeeping, go! It's mostly just galumphing about, waiting for something interesting to happen. And it's often dull. No matter what costumes the characters are wearing. There's a disconnect between reading this on paper and seeing it played out. Allow me to demonstrate as I describe the action while it happens on screen. Charlie Chaplin and his wife, Marilyn Monroe, who have a daughter named Shirley Temple, own a ranch where they raise sheep. One day, Abraham Lincoln and Sammy Davis Jr. discover that their sheep have fallen ill, and so they hire people to diagnose them. After finding out that the sheep are incurable, the Three Stooges get their shotguns and solemnly put the sheep down. As this happens, Madonna and James Dean look on, tears in their eyes, and the Pope laments the loss of... You see?
It sounds like fanfiction I used to write when I was 14.
Part of me wonders if the Werner Herzog nun storyline wasn't included just to add some action to it.
Rice! Yes, yes, fast! The rice first, yes! Drop it! Bring it down, they're waiting for it! They're hungry!
Wait for it?
Wait. Yes! Drop it! Toss it down! Down, down, down!
And then she prays.
Oh Lord, do not let me die.
And she lands. Unharmed. This part, at least, has the makings of a decent short story. A small convent working on the edges of the world has discovered a true miracle, falling and being saved through prayer. And not only that, it's a miracle that's repeated. You see, it's a miracle because God so graciously installed horribly visible parachutes under their habits. The head of the order is overwhelmed by this miracle, a joyous validation of belief. The Pope, no, like the actual non-British Pope, invites them to the Vatican, so they get on a plane and crash. Pathos, hubris, irony? It's a sad little short that works on its own terms. But it takes backseat to the impersonator storyline. It's a rich little fable that's only told in bullet points. And given its relationship to the rest of the film, it is not a significant bullet point. Gotta be at least one Werner Herzog fan who understood that. Okay, to be fair, there is some conflict. There's a budding love triangle between Michael Jackson, Marilyn Monroe, and Charlie Chaplin. Sentences this film is making me say out loud.
Should I read my fanfic? Princess Diana, Roddy McDowell, Elton John, and Ronald Reagan went into a grocery store taking 2 carts with them, so their kangaroo had a place to ride. Elton and Ronald slipped into a corner to be alone near the milk, when who should show up but Gianni Versace and Prince!
But again, that storyline's underplayed and buried under other nonsense.
Leave me so that I may remain in peace.
You can't help but laugh at the absurdity of these characters. And part of me wonders if the director wasn't laughing at it too. He even made an entirely unoriginal joke about it.
Sometimes when I look at you, you seem more like Adolf Hitler than Charlie Chaplin.
Idiocracy made a Chaplin as Hitler joke.
First to the year 1939, when Charlie Chaplin and his evil Nazi regime.
Freaks and Geeks made a Chaplin as Hitler joke.
Looking for Chaplin, only seeing Hitler.
Chaplin made a Chaplin as Hitler joke. I suppose that's the difficulty in watching a Harmony Korine film. You can barely tell when he's taking himself seriously. But for this, I'm going to take a guess and assume that this is soaked in facetiousness. You can't tell me I'm supposed to take this seriously. You just can't. He made a Teletubbies reference. But even the romance story fizzles out and takes backseat to a let's put on a show story. I mean, it's talked about throughout.
It's gonna be the greatest show on earth.
And there is a frenzy in the build-up to it. They make their own stage, they get into arguments about the performance, there are pep talks, there are group meetings.
Let's just fucking shut it! Yeah!
We must make it! We must make it! We must not fake it! And then the glory of opening night.
It better be from the heart of Brooklyn, unless you get a knuckle sandwich, you know?
You know, the skydiving nuns make a bit more sense now. People try to make a miracle, and they fail. See, they're connected by a thread that's so thin you could cut it in half by blowing on it. At least with one, you could argue divine intervention, but here, the failure seems brought upon themselves. For a couple reasons. First off, the act. Secondly, the act.
So a man walks into a bar with his pet monkey, and the monkey necks 3 beers and falls asleep in the corner. The man goes to leave, the barman says, "Hey, you can't leave that lion there." He says, "It's not a lion, it's a monkey."
Third, the venue. The self-built venue.
I now declare our majestic theater open!
You have a castle. Put on the show in the castle. It has rooms and furnishing and heating. Also, this is their publicity campaign.
Ladies and gentlemen, for one night only, we will be presenting the greatest show on earth.
Yes, everyone in the world will come to a theater which could easily double as a meth lab on an island, only accessible by boat, after hearing about it via traveling motorcycle to see a group of bad impersonators telling lame jokes and doing weak shtick. Just think of what the world is missing.
7 years ago, our fathers brought forth upon this continent a new nation.
And so it's obvious from the start that they're going to fail. They're never going to get this off the ground. And yet you still manage to feel bad for them. The absurdity of costuming doesn't necessarily diminish the actor's ability to convey their extreme sense of disappointment. And Corinne isn't so feckless as to stage an ending without any sense of pathos. But ultimately, we're not given much insight into what it means to be an impersonator. Yes, there is a rather poignant opening monologue.
I don't know if you know what it is like to want to be someone else. To not want to look like you look. To hate your own face and to go completely unnoticed.
But it isn't much backed up by the action. Supposedly off-camera, the actors kept their impersonations going, but that dedication doesn't come on through the camera. We don't see many scenes of them discussing their characters, their obsessions. They just are. It's more nature documentary than character study. Rarely on camera are we shown any of them truly devoting themselves to the persona that they've...
No. No.
Goodbye, Norma Jean. Though
Whoa.
I never knew you
Whoa.
at all you had.
Whoa. Anyway, Michael goes to Paris and decides to quit, but he gets cryptically told that he can't ever leave because he is who he is, and such and so forth, and whatnot, and wherewithal, and heretofore not what with, not henceforth not with. Parts of the film are clearly autobiographical. Harmony Korine spent most of the Audies either on drugs or going through withdrawal, causing him to nearly drop off the film circuit entirely. And he spent most of that time in, you guessed it, Paris. And as an American who spoke no French, you can imagine that this was a very lonely time for him. And so Michael's opening and closing scenes are clear parallels to that. But I think the autobiography is a bit more layered than that. Because I might be reading a bit too much into this, but hear me out. Michael is played by Diego Luna, co-star of Alfonso Cuarón's brilliant Y Tu Mama Tambien. The Pope and the Queen are played by James Fox and Anita Pallenberg, who once worked together alongside Mick Jagger in Donald Cammell and Nicholas Roeg's counterculture classic, Performance. Chaplin is played by the supremely talented Denis Lavant, frequent co-collaborator of French director Leos Carax. Before this, he starred in Carax's Lovers on the Bridge, and after this, he would star in Carax's Holy Motors, which is awesome, go see it, oh my god! On that note, Carax is in this movie as Michael's boss, along with director Werner Herzog, who, like Carax, is playing an authority figure. On top of all that, the film was shot by Marcel Ziskin, regular cinematographer from Michael Winterbottom. You know, 9 songs? Before this film, Korine had been an actor in not one, but 2 productions by Gus Van Sant, and his previous directorial effort was an entry into Lars von Trier's Dogma 95 movement, with the cinematographer for Thomas Vinterberg's original Dogma film, The Celebration. So to recap, playing even the barest game of 6 degrees of separation, Harmony Korine can be directly linked to Alfonso Cuarón, Nicholas Roeg, Thomas Vinterberg, Michael Winterbottom, Gus Van Sant, Leos Carax, Werner Herzog, and Lars von Trier. Harmony Korine is working with the upper echelons of the cinematic medium, the best directors whose work is seen by no one. And here, he's made a story about people acting like the greats, aiming to please an audience that may not exist. Yes, Mr. Lonely is a preposterous mess, aimless in its goals, cloying when it isn't tacky, but I can't help but see a sad piece of autobiography. Ignoring its useless side story, Mr. Lonely is about people pretending to be something greater than themselves. Celebrities. people who by their very definition are celebrated. All stories about artists have a degree of autobiography, I suppose, and here we might actually see how Kareen views his art. He is trying to be greater than himself, and find solace in his friends with the same mad ambitions.
Hell, it's why I do what I do. With the people I do it with.
And so I cannot hate this film. Yes, I mock Harmony Korine, but I'm doing so while drunk on the courage of his liquor, because I share his insecurities, and I share his ambitions. So, what I'm trying to say is...
Let me get this thing off.
I analyze it so you don't have to.
Stop that! But why are you wearing my jacket? That's just wacky!